All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Let's begin the class again like we did before. And first of all, we'll start off by giving charity. Charity, we gave before here. Let's see. We have a coin, and I have to take my word for it and giving charity because here it is. There's the gave charity. Put a coin into the charity box. Let's see if everybody can see. Here we are. Oh, see. Here is Rabbi Bolton giving charity. Where's the charity coin? There it is. There is the coin. There is me. And here is the charity box. Can you see it? I have this thing stuck. I'm using a new camera, so. There it is. I have to direct this thing. Everything is upside down. And here is the charity box. Close-up picture. This is one of these avant-garde movies. Here we go. See, coin. There we go. All right. Please, thank you for being patient, and let's begin to learn. Okay, the picture could be a little better, but that's what we got. Okay. This week's Shabbat, this Shabbat is the Shabbat before Yom Kippur. The Shabbat before Yom Kippur is called Shabbat Shuvah. For two reasons. It's the Shabbos that you should do Shuvah, but it's also the Haftorah, is also Shuvah Yisrael, that the Jewish people should return to God. Okay, sometimes it's the coming Shabbat, it falls on a different Torah reading by us. By us, it's going to be on Ha'azinu, but sometimes it falls on Vayelech. But basically, it's the same thing. So here we go. There's a sentence in this next week's Torah portion. Maybe I can make this a little bit bigger. Is it any better? Huh? This is supposed to be from far away. All right. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me? Is it clear? Yeah. All right.
Yes.
See auto settings. Good. I think that should be okay. Okay. Yes. So sometimes this next Shabbat falls on the last week's Torah portion, Vayelech. The end of Vayelech, it says like this. There's a sentence, and here's the sentence. Here it is. Lakach et Sefer HaTorah, as a God. This is, of course, God speaking through Moses. The whole book of Deuteronomy is Moses speaking, but God is speaking through Moses, and he's saying, take this Torah scroll. Now, the Torah scroll. We have the 10 commandments are in the ark. And then God says, take this Torah scroll. The 10 commandments are only the 10 commandments, right? It says there's 613 letters or something, and the 10 commandments. And then there's the whole rest of the Torah, which there's thousands and thousands of letters, hundreds of thousands of letters in a Sefer Torah. And the Sefer Torah is just written, it's ink written on parchment. That's what it is. And the tablets, the 10 commandments, they were carved into the stone. They were carved into the stone to the degree that the letters weren't really anything on their own. It was just missing where the stone was missing. That's what the letters were. So the letters of the 10 commandments were one together with the tablets, which is not the case. The Sefer Torah, the scroll, that was many, many more words, but that was ink on parchment. So it was like an additional thing added in. A little bit gets soaked in, but not that much. Not that much. The majority stays out. So it's two different types of Torah, if you want to call it. The 10 commandments, which are carved, and the scroll, the Torah scroll, which the same exact Torah scroll that Moses had, that's found in every synagogue today. The same exact one. 3,300 years, we've been copying it down, and when the Jews were exiled, they took Sefer Torahs with them, and they wrote them on small Sefer Torahs and big Sefer Torahs. But they sacrificed their lives for the Sefer Torah. They ran into burning buildings, etc., to take out the Torah scroll, which is not the case. The tablets are buried down deep under the Holy Temple. They're buried down deep in this sort of secret, twisted chambers way down there, that King Solomon knew that the temple was going to be destroyed, the first temple, and it's down there. So okay, but nevertheless, there's the two types of this. There's a sentence right near the end of last week's Torah portion, and it says, God, this is God saying to Moses to tell the Jewish people, what is he telling them? 1 minute, got to get my pointer over here. Lakach et Sefer Torah zeh, take this Sefer Torah, v'samtem oto, and put it mitzad Aaron Brit Hashem, on the side of the covenant, the ark of the covenant of God. And it will be for you, le'ed, this Torah scroll will be a testimony for what God gave. So let's look at Rashi for a second over here. Where is it, Rashi? Rashi says, Aid? 1 minute. Anyway, it says that there's an argument between the rabbis. Where does it say over here? It says, this is Rashi. No, it's not Rashi, it's Ramban. Okay, it says, Mitzad Aaron Brit, says Rashi, that's Rabbi Shlomo Yitzchaki. He said, Nichlaku et Chachmei Yisrael. The rabbis disagree in the Talmud, Baba Batra. If this is to be taken literally means Bitzad means that there was a protrusion, a shelf that came out of the ark, and that they put the Torah scroll on that. And some people say, no, mitzad aluchot, that it was right next to the tablets in the ark. Okay, two different opinions. Nevertheless, where was the ark? In the Holy of Holies. So in the Holy of Holies was the tablets with the letters carved and the written Torah. Good. Now let us proceed. In Hainta Casedra, in this week's Torah portion, in this week's Torah reading, it moved over here. Did it move? No, that's good. Good. In this week's Torah reading, in Hainta Casedra state, it says, Lakachet Sefer Torah zeh, take this Torah scroll, v'samtem also, and put it bitzad Aaron Brit, next to the Ark of Covenant of God. Which side? Mitzad, I mean the inside or the outside? So that we just learned that the rabbis disagreed. Zayin and Franz Feideos, there's two opinions regarding this. One says that the Sefer Torah was legen in Aaron, was in the ark together with the tablets. And the Tzveiter Day, and the second opinion is as Zay is gelegen, that it was laying, the Torah scroll was B'tzad Aaron, on the outside of the ark. There was like a little shelf that went out. But according to both opinions, is the Sefer Torah, this Torah scroll was given in Kodesh Kodashim. It was in the Holy of Holies. Torah scroll was in the Holy of Holies. Thus says this means, as in the reason I'm saying this in Yiddish is because when the Lubavitcher Rebbe would speak in public, he would speak in Yiddish. He knew tens of languages. I don't know how many languages he knew. He knew a lot of languages, the Rebbe. And he, but in public, usually he spoke in Yiddish. There was once he spoke in Russian and once he spoke in French. As in Kodesh, I think he spoke in French. He spoke in Russian, I know. As in Kodesh Kodashim, Zayin and Gelegen, there were side de luchos, also the tablets, which had carved out letters in them, inside the Sefer Torah, and also the Torah scroll, which were letters that were written on the ark. Let's get this over here. We have to understand the sheikh is the connection between the Torah scroll, which are letters that are written down, and the Holy of Holies. The sheikh is from the luchos, from the tablets, osios chakikos. These were letters that were carved in to the Holy of Holies. This is it's self-understood. Why is it self-understood? While in Kodesh Kodeshim, because in the Holy of Holies is doch der makom Aaron, it says the place of the ark, eno mina mida. It was not measured. What does it mean it wasn't measured? This means, as the ark that the tablets were in, that even though it's given a makom mugbal, even though the ark was had to be precise measurements, 2.5 amos long and 1.5 amos high and 1.5 amos deep. It had to be exact, and if it was not exact measurements, then it was disqualified. Is over their makom, but the place itself was l'mayla miya makom. It says that they used to lower down once a year. They would they would lower down workers. Their feet wouldn't touch the ground, and they would clean out the Holy of Holies. Maybe a spider went in there, who knows what, the dirt. They would clean it out. And to make sure that the ark was exactly in the right place, they would measure from one end of the ark to the wall, and then the other side of the ark to the wall. So there was, when they did, it would come out there was 10 amos from the ark to the right wall and 10 amos to the left wall. And the ark was 2.5 amos long, but it didn't take up any place. The whole room was 20 amos wide, 20 amos wide. The whole room was 20 amos wide. And when they measured from one side of the ark, it was 10 amos, and the other side of the ark was 10 amos. So it came out that the ark didn't take up any place. How could that be? It had to be exactly 2.5 amos. And if you measured it, it was 2.5 amos. But nevertheless, for some reason, it says, Eino mina makom, it didn't take up any place. So we see that the ark itself was holy. It was purely holy. When a zoy is oich der zman from Kodesh Kodeshim, it also was the time of the holy, and the time that there was a holy of holies, is gaven l'maylam mazman. The holy, when there was a holy temple, as the holy of holies was higher than time. Barum, because zman mit mokom zayin verbunden, because time and place are connected. So he said this is also the same thing as the carved out letters. Hagam ze zayin a metzius, even though they were in existence from letters. What does it mean above time? Time is a creation. God is creating time. We get used to thinking that, we're just living within time. That's just the most obvious thing in the world. And then time goes by, it just, that's reality. But the fact of the matter is it's not reality. We've talked about this a lot of times before. The question is always asked, what was there before the world was created? So the answer is that before the world was created, there was no such thing as before. There was no such thing as before. The whole idea of before and after only began when God created the world. What was there before that? Makes no sense. The world is an exact measurement, right? We know, now we're going to celebrate Rosh Hashanah is the 6th day of creation, when God created the world exactly 5,785 years ago. Exactly. What was there before that? There was no time. God created time and he created place. When the high priest went into the Holy of Holies, he went into that level, that dimension, whatever you dimension. That meant there was no time. He was one with the Creator, so to speak. That was the Holy of Holies. It's the same thing with the tablets. The tablets are the same thing. They were given from the Creator directly into this world. Same thing is also the thing of the letters which were carved out into the tablets. Hagam zezayin and ametzius, even though that they were letters, mitten shir, and they had a measurement to them. They had an exact. There were laws which related to the letters, how big they had to be and what shape they had to be. As from Desveg, and nevertheless, Avanzei and the luchos, the tablets, did not add anything on. They just took away. This is the whole difference between the letters which are written on the scroll and the letters which are carved out in the tablets. As is the letters that are written down, they are added. It's ink added onto parchment. Dio, ink on parchment. Over osios chakikas with letters which are carved out, zainin minei obey. There are one part of the Melis OF, so especially the letters. Oh, it says so. The letters that were written on the tablets were big miracles. Right? And especially the letters Mem and Samach on the tablets. Shebeluchos Shebenei Soyombim. They stood with the miracle. It says that the letters that were carved into the tablets went all the way through. They went all the way through. And in some opinions, it was a miracle that whichever side you read, it came out the same way. It wasn't like, mirror image on the other side. But nevertheless, there were two letters, the letter Mem, so the letter and Samach. So the letter Mem and Samach is exactly the opposite of what I'm showing over here. The letter Samach is on the tablets, this is empty, this part is empty, and the middle is stone. So how did the stone stand up? It wasn't holding on anything. There weren't like little pins or something that held the stone up. The same thing with the final Mem. Final Mem is also a letter that's surrounded on all sides. So when it was carved out, this was all carved out, and the middle stood. How did it stand up? It says they stood by a mace. There was a nace, a miracle. Okay, so the whole thing of the tablets is pure godly and it's miraculous. And that's the same thing as the Holy of Holies. The Holy of Holies was a place that was there and not there at the same time. It was a big miracle. So automatically it's not understood the Sheikh is the connection between the letters which are carved out to the Holy of Holies. But what is the connection between the letters that are written down on the parchment to the Holy of Holies? Leave the Torah scroll out of the Holy of Holies. The Torah scroll is man-made. It's written down, right? So there's no miracle in there at all. So that doesn't have any place in the Holy of Holies, right? Wrong. It says clearly that you have to put both the tablets and the written scroll in the Holy of Holies. What's the written Torah doing in the Holy of Holies for? It's not godly. It's not made by God. It's not a miracle. It's just any scribe can write it. The Tachlis, the whole purpose of the Holy of Holies is as Zer Inyan, that its whole topic, namely time and place, Lamaila Zman Makom, we should reveal that time and place is above time and place. And it was a place where, what happened? 3 times a year, all the Jews went to the Holy Temple. What had happened at the Holy Temple? What happened over there? They came, they were happy. Moadim l'simcha. At the holidays, the Jews went up to the Holy Temple and they came and they were happy. What's there to be happy about? What's there to be happy about? There was like a big light show over there with fireworks and singers and dancers and free prizes and everything. No, nothing. They went and they saw God, which should be the most boring thing in the world because God never changes. God never changes. Nothing can change God. So that must be really like super boring, Mommy, when are we going to go home? We're watching God. I don't want to watch God anymore. I want to go home and watch television. I want to see something, right? No, nobody said that. Everyone was, why? Because everyone felt that they're being created. Everyone felt that the whole entire world, time, place, everything is just an amazing, amazing, fresh miracle every moment. Every moment is a brand new miracle. Like when a baby is born, right? Oh, it's a big happy thing. Afterwards, he gets older, right? Why aren't you happy now? What do you mean? Because I'm born. What do you mean you're born? You're 33 years old. You were born 33 years ago. So you were happy back then? Yeah, so why aren't you happy now? What are you talking about? Well, when they went to the Holy Temple, they were happy because they felt that every second, everything is brand new. Time is brand new. Place is brand new. In other words, in simple language, this is God's world. It's not our world. And we are God's creations. We are not the creator. The whole purpose of the Holy of Holies, there were different degrees of this oneness, revealed oneness in the Holy Temple. And it was revealed to everybody to a certain degree, but in the Holy of Holies, that was really intense. The whole purpose of the Holy of Holies was that his Zman, the time and place, and above time and place, should shine out also outside of the Holy of Holies. And it was the purpose of the Holy Temple was to make the whole world holy. The whole world is a big miracle. In Ezra's Kohanim, there's the Holy of Holies. Then there's what's called the Holy, and there's the place where only the Kohanim can go. And then there's Ezra's Yisrael, the place where all the Jews could go. And then the males, and then there's Ezra Nashim. Then there's a place where it says that it's a less holy level. It's called Ezra Nashim, but it's a less holy level. So all of these are levels of less and less holiness. There's Harabayat, there's the Temple Mountain, and there's also outside of the Holy Mountain in Jerusalem, it says, until also the world and all the non-Jews. Darten Vu Zegefinzech, wherever they find themselves, nit nor ven zekumen in Beit HaMikdash, that everyone in the world, not only when people come to the Holy Temple, Zolan Vesin, they should know that time and place is really, in fact, a big miracle. It's above time and place. That's the whole purpose of the Holy Temple. That's why we're screaming and praying, God, build a third temple again, so that we won't live in a mistake. What's mitzad them is va'omdu zarim v'ro tzonechem. It's a promise, a prophecy in Isaiah, whatever, 61, chapter 61, that it says that eventually all of the non-Jews will stand up and they'll be very happy to do anything they can to help the Jews. It says that the Gentiles will come and they will shepherd our sheep. Huh? And therefore, why will they shepherd our sheep? Because the Jews, the non-Jews will see that God loves them. And who's telling them this? Right? In their religions, it doesn't say this. It says, if you're good, you're going to go to heaven. Here, Judaism teaches there's one God, and this God is creating everything, and everything is an amazing miracle, including every non-Jew in the world. And this comes from the Holy of Holies. So, in other words, the purpose of the Holy of Holies is that the physical world, the non-holy world, should realize that it too is holy. And therefore, Zayin and Oich Oses, the letters which are written down, they were put in the Holy of Holies. Why? Thus is their mamutza, because the written letters on the Torah, this is a connector. This connects, and therefore that the light of the Holy of Holies should be drawn also into physical, man-made things which are outside of the Holy of Holies. So in this, we have the Holy of Holies, and in the Holy of Holies is the Torah, which was given to the Jewish people. So that's already going a little bit out. I mean, God gave the Torah out. But that's really holy. The tablets are super holy, they're super intense. And that's not what God wants. God wants that it should be intense, but that the whole world should realize that God is creating them. So in order to, why do you say that? Make it user-friendly, make godliness user-friendly, that everyone sees that God is creating them too. So there was a mundane thing in the Holy of Holies, a sort of semi-mundane ink, parchment, which the ink comes from, regular dye. You can buy it in the store. And the parchment comes from a regular cow. And this was written as a Sefer Torah. Moses wrote it. And it's put into the Holy of Holies. And this is just it's mundane items in the Holy of Holies. What are they doing there? Says that's the whole point of the Holy of Holies, is to come out and make the whole world holy. And by holy, we mean feeling that God is creating them. Holy means whatever reveals God. In the future, it says that the whole world will reveal God. As Verter declared, so it's explained in Chassidut, that the Oiftu from Avodas Rosh Hashanah, the difference between the service on Rosh Hashanah compared to the service of the rest of the year. On Rosh Hashanah, all the Jews go to the Holy Temple and they pray to God, God, please make a good world. Please, God, let every creation know that you're creating them. They sound the shofar, God, be a king, reveal that you are the king, that be a true king, show us really what to do, how to have a good life, a meaningful life. God, be the boss of all the creation. That's what we do on Rosh Hashanah. We give ourselves over to God. We surrender ourselves to God. So that's the difference between the service of Rosh Hashanah and the whole rest of the year. As a Gans year, the whole rest of the year is the Ikr. The main service is, serving God is, according to Tam V'dat. Tam V'dat means logic. Logic. Like we're saying here now. Right? Why should I serve God? I mean, you're being created. Who says I'm being created? Think about it. How did you get here? Right? Maybe I'm not being created. Maybe not. You're right. But maybe yes. How can I perceive that I'm being created? That requires faith. It requires faith. But you have to, so convince me. So the whole rest of the year, we're serving God. We believe in God, but it's according to something that convinces us. Some sort of a reason. Right? I'm doing it because I'm a Jew, because I'm a creation of God. I'm doing it because I love God, because God took us out of Egypt, because God creates the world, because there's a big because. And also the self-sacrifice for the whole rest of the year is epis sheichus has a little bit of connection to logic. That people are willing to give their money away. And why? Because you get a big reward for it and you go to heaven. There's a little bit of logic behind it. Oh, but the whole service of Rosh Hashanah is bittul, is a total surrender, which is totally above understanding. What does that mean? How can it be above understanding? Here the Rebbe is explaining to us. Above understanding. It's almost like the same thing. Let's just take a simple example. A child and his father. It could be, let's say the child is a really nice boy and he likes everybody and helps everyone. And he hasn't seen his father for a long time. Remember, I told you a story yesterday about the boy that wanted to see his parents in Germany. I told you, look in the YouTube, you'll see the story I told. So a boy with his father. So he hasn't seen his father for a long time. And he's waiting. There's a boat coming with, people coming that have been saved from the Holocaust. Right? And one person gets off, one person always happy for everybody. He's a good person. He's happy for everyone. Oh, I'm so happy. And suddenly he sees his father. Now, let's say he hasn't seen his father since he was 3 years old. And now he's, let's say, 15 years old. Hasn't seen him. He sees his father. Oh, all of a sudden it wakes up something. This is a different relationship. It's not logical. There's something intrinsic, something essential inside the boy and inside of his father, in the soul. That he recognizes, oh, this is my father. This is a different thing. It's not logical. It doesn't make any sense. It's the connection of a child to his father. Now, I know that Freud and all these people, they say that there's no such thing, that it's all, everything is selfish. According to all these psychiatrists and psychologists and this, everything is selfish. Everything is just for yourself. And the reason you love your father is because, he provided for you, whatever it is. The father figure, but according to Judaism, especially Hasidut, it's not so. The love that a child has for his father is a godly thing. It's not logical. It's not logical. It's just almost the same thing as, how do you know that this is your eye, right? Put your finger on your eye. How do you know it's your eye? Maybe it's somebody else's eye. What are you, nuts? This is my eye. I'm talking about it. Right? It's you feel it. It's an inside thing. Nobody has to convince you of it. The same thing is with every Jew with God. Every Jew has an inside, essential connection to the creator of the universe. Every Jew has an essential inside connection to God, like a father to a son, even more like a servant to the king. Is willing to give his life for the king. He's willing to give it. Why is he willing to? Because it's my king. It's my king. That's who I am, right? I'm a Mexican or whatever it is, and that's who I am. It's my flesh and my blood. I'm the air I breathe and everything like this. The father with the son, even more so. So every Jew has an essential connection to God. Every Jew, in the language of Hasidut, every Jew wants to do all the commandments. Every Jew no Jew can do sins. It's impossible for a Jew to do a sin. Impossible. The only reason they do is either they're ignorant or they're temporarily crazy or they don't feel. They're insensitive. They don't feel what the truth is. But this feeling what the truth is, this is above understanding. There's another sikha that I wanted to learn. And I don't think we'll learn it though. And it says that the sound of the shofar has a message inside of it. Right? The sound of the shofar. It's screaming out, Father, Father, help me, screaming out. And the fifth Rebbe of Chabad said that the main thing is not the message that's inside, Father, Father. The main thing is the scream. And your father, after all, you recognize this is your father. He comes and tells you, his face, his eyes, something like that. But the connection is awakened by seeing your father. With God, it's not exactly the same thing. God is not something that you see. The connection is so essential that the connection itself is alive. The connection itself is alive. You don't have to have anything. A Jew doesn't have to have anything to remind him of this connection. It just pops up. It says that's the sound of the shofar. That's the screaming of the shofar. The message of the shofar is the external part of the soul. But the screaming out of the shofar, that's the essence of every single Jew. That's what's called Rosh Hashanah, is service above understanding. There's no reason for it. The essence, Jewish identity, wakes up to the essence of what God is. Therefore, basis, we have to know, as Chach against your, even though the whole year, Montman the Tenua from Bittel, Lamaila Mitavadas, even though that not only on Rosh Hashanah, but the whole rest of the year, we should realize the truth that God is creating us and we are his sons, we are his creations. We should be the whole rest of the year. But nevertheless, in a Gansia, the whole rest of the year, in a place where when a person he feels his own existence, as darv ze bayim the avoda azoi vs mont zich mitzad der bittel from Rosh Hashanah. Even though that the whole rest of the year a person feels himself and he has to convince himself that God exists, and he has to convince himself to surrender himself to the creator of the universe. That's the rest of the year. You can't demand from a person the same surrender to God the whole rest of the year as he has on Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is making God a king. We're feeling the essence of the Jewish soul comes out. It's the scream, the inner scream of the shofar. You can't demand that the rest of the year, right? Says the Rebbe, not right. The fact of the matter is the whole rest of the year, we also can be connected to Creator just like we are on Rosh Hashanah. Something like in the Holy of Holies with the letters that are written, be as until it finally comes out. And the written scroll was not holy, wasn't as holy as the tablets. Okay, the scroll, the Torah scroll is holy, yes, but nothing like the tablets, right? It's just regular ink on regular parchment. But nevertheless, that was in the Holy of Holies. This is a hint to us as what we have to be all the days of the year. Rosh Hashanah is like the Holy of Holies. Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, the Holy of Holies. We have to bring that out into the world, out into our day-to-day life. Durach then, by means of this, we bring about, by means of the written scroll, was also in the Holy of Holies, so we make it that also the blessings, which we draw down from Rosh Hashanah, will come also into the whole year. In Mitzius, in reality, Oich in Gashmis, and in the physical world, B'kolam Mitzdarach, and everything that you need. That you'll have, nobody will be poor, and nobody will be angry, and your bus will come on time, and your boss won't fire you, and you'll find a good job, and your children will be healthy, and all the most mundane, simple things, right? You'll have shoes on your feet, and all the things that all these politicians promise because everybody needs them, and they don't come across. Well, from Rosh Hashanah, the blessing from God, we make it that God will come across the whole rest of the year. How do we prepare this? The hachana, the preparation for this is Atem Netzavim Hayom. You are standing today. That was last week's Torah portion. This says Hayom. What is Yom? It explains that's Rosh Hashanah. Yom the Din Rabbah, the day of great judgment. Kulachem, all of them, the heads of the tribes, etc., the choppers of wood, the drawers of water. Chach az er is efshar. Efshar from Reishechem, because then ir is efshar, it is possible from the heads of the tribes far bindik to be connected, zich mit a zweiter Yidden, to be connected to a second other Jew, bizder sub from chotev etzecha, until the lowest types of Jews, those that can only chop wood and draw water. They don't do any commandments. They don't learn Torah. They don't do anything. All they can do is the most mundane things. When ervert mitim kulachem, they'll all be together. That's what it says. That was Parshas Nitzavim. It says Atem Nitzavim Hayom Kulchem. You have to unify yourself with all of the Jewish people. When the Jewish people are one, how can the Jewish people be one? Two reasons. Number one, we're all Jews. We're all Jews. All Jews are exactly the same. Exactly the same. We're Jews. What makes us Jews? God. There's smart Jews, there's intelligent Jews, there's good Jews, there's bad Jews, there's destructive Jews, there's constructive Jews, there's anti-Jewish Jews, and there's other Jews, but you're Jews. And Jews don't deny it. And it's not understandable why they don't deny it, but they don't deny it. And that unites all of us. That's one reason. Another reason is because we're all different. No one is the same. Everybody's personalities are different. Everybody's fingerprints are different. Everybody's abilities are different. And because everyone is different, so that makes the whole picture. You put them all together, it makes one big body. So therefore, really, all of the Jews standing together, when we recognize this, that everybody has something good inside of them that we have to learn from, that difference, everyone is an essential part of the puzzle that I don't have. On the other hand, I'm also part of the puzzle that nobody else has. So by recognizing the good in others and not seeing the bad, not seeing how this person does not fit into the puzzle, by seeing how everybody does fit into the puzzle of Judaism, that everybody's different. So by means of this, you have at least a positive look at the person. Positive, you're looking for something good. Doesn't mean you have to give every con man money, or you have to, do make everybody feel good and sit with them and take drugs or whatever. Not. We're talking about that you have to look for the good inside of everybody because you have to do Torah and the commandments. But nevertheless, there is inside of everybody good. So don't hate the bad of the person more than you love the good. And even if you don't see the good, that good should override the bad. That means everyone zusammen together. This is the vessel for God's blessing. Und das was macht nicht kein chilukim, and that which you don't make any divisions between one type of Jews, the highest of Jews, Rosh Shivtechem, and the choppers of wood, that was right, last week's Torah portion was it. And the drawers of water is git im koach. This gives you power. Oiv nit machen, to not make any divisions between the service of Rosh Hashanah and this, which that's like the tablets, the holy tablets that were in the Holy of Holies, and the whole rest of the year. That's like the Torah scroll, which is in the Holy of Holies. As oich the gans year, that the whole rest of the year should be shining by you this total surrender, this harmony that you have with God from Rosh Hashanah, with your Creator. When durach then, by means of this, Paul air, by this unity, you also bring about hamshacha, a blessing from above. What do you mean? That God reacts to what we do. Herzich an umatom, it will be felt everywhere. Biz until as omdu zarim v'ro tzonechem, that even the non-Jews will come to the Jews and say, listen, is there anything we can do to help you? Can we do anything to help? But we would like to help anything that we can do. Right? That's what we want. All right. Come here. I'll call you right back. I'll call you right back. I'm just in the middle of a class. Okay. Val durach them, because by means of this was poiled, that he brings about is the surrender of Rosh Hashanah also in dem zar was it by him, that by means of taking the part of you which is not connected to God, namely your own egotism, and it could be nice egotism, but you still feel yourself, which is the most natural thing in the world, and that by means of that, devoting that to the creator of yourself, your ego, creating and saying that I want to do what you want, God. I'm putting the creator before me. God is first. Whatever Hashem wants, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to think. And then I have to think about me, how to do it. But by means of doing that, I take the stranger, which is inside of me, the stranger, which is sort of separate from God. God was thus as their guf, for instance, my body and my natural soul, un oich by them zar, and also by the stranger, which is by the other person, namely, all I feel that other Jews are not part of the same body. They're strangers to me. I'm a good Jew, but this other guy, he's not. So inside of me, there's the part of me which is a stranger to God, my own egotism. By taking that and devoting it to the Creator, God is creating it. Then also I can, from that, extrapolate and learn how to take a Jew that seems to be separate from me and realize he's also not separate. He's also not a stranger. Durach them, Paul there, this also by the non-Jews. Vozei Zaina, which they are the true strangers. They're strangers to Judaism, they're not Jews. But also that they also should feel the highness of the Jewish people. And that's what it says, Ro Tzonechem, that they'll see that the Jewish people are here to bring blessing to the whole world. They'll want to benefit the Jews as much as possible. So all these enemies of the Jews for all the generations, right? The reason that they're enemies of the Jews is because they want to destroy the whole world. It's not that they want to destroy just the Jews. They want to stop blessing in the world. And durach them, and by means of this, is menzocha, that we will merit as the hamshacha. Okay, but first of all, the Jews have to be honest and straight and trustworthy and caring and loving. And every Jew has to really want to bring blessing to the whole world, to see that the world is not a separate thing from him. right? He wants to benefit the world just like he wants to benefit himself, right? And even more. He realizes that his own self, this also is a big gift from God. So the whole world sees that the Jewish people are here only to give blessing to everyone, and they're not here for their own selfish purposes and whatever it is and all these nefarious plans or whatever that these people have. Right? That they'll see all the Freuds and the Spinozas and all these other freaks that stood up and twisted around the whole world. Was is Nimshach Gavan Rosh Hashanah? They come Rosh Hashanah. And then, by means of this, we can merit that the blessings which are Rosh Hashanah should also come down the whole rest of the year, and not only to us, but also to the physical world, and to everything that everybody needs, and a good that's revealed and felt. Man is zocha, you can be merit to a kativa and a chatima tova for a good, blessed year among all the Jewish people, for Shana Tova, Umatuka, Betova Nira Venigla, and a good which is revealed and seen. To have a good year. Okay, now let us do the Yom Yom. See, I'm a little bit pressed for time, but we can do it. We can do it. 1 minute.